Hey everyone, it is Foul Play here, and I'm back for this modern league. I did forget to record this video, so I'm going to be doing a bit of a voiceover here. So, running my usual 20 lands. For the deck, it's mostly my stock list. We've got our usual land base, 4 of which are fetches, 3 of which are basics, 1 Dryad Arbor for fetchable creature. Then your usual suspects, Temple Garden, Razorverge Thicket, Horizon Canopy. We've got our 8 hexproof creatures between Scout and Slippery Bogle. We've got Core Spirit Dancer, which is our 2 mana machine. Draws us a card every time we cast an aura spell and gets +2/+2 for each aura attached to it. All our enchantments in the main deck, obviously auras, going to buff up Core Spirit Dancer, draw us cards, buff our hexproof creatures as well. Got mostly my standard list. I have changed a few things. So I've cut down on a Sentinel's Eyes and I've cut down on a Leyline in the main deck for the 2 Spirit Mantles here. Give us extra evasiveness effects for these Skyclave Evaporation decks that are running around. I guess it's also very good against Death Shadow. Got my usual auras with 4 for Ethereal Armor, Grispoon, Hyena Umbra, Daybreak Coronet, Rancor. As I said, 2 Spirit Mantle, 1 Sentinel's Eyes, 2 Path Main. So in the sideboard, I've got the other 2 Path, I've got the other Leyline, so 4 of each in the 75. I'm also running 3 of in Hushbringer for the Skyclave Evaporation decks mostly. They're dominating at the moment. That card is like worth 25 tickets. It's insane. Rest in Peace for Graveyard decks, Gadok Tig for Tron decks, and Force of Vigor, Seal of Primordium for Artifact and Enchantment interaction. Gaia's Blessing there for Dredge. It's basically Emrakul, but I guess I can cast it and draw a card. Return 3 cards from my graveyard to the battlefield. Now, the reason I've sort of diversified the Force of Vigor and Seal of Primordium here is because against Dredge, they do... They do have like surgical extraction, ephemerate, or whatever the other one's called, and I sort of want my artifact and enchantment destructions to have different names because it can be very important destroying and snaring bridge in that matchup. So if I had like a third effect, it might be like Deglamour or Unravel the Ether, Nature's Claim, even any of those cards sort of fine. Just like change it up a little bit so you don't get blown out by that. And yeah, with Gadok Tig, at the moment, Tron seems to be leaning more on non-creature spells, seems to be how they're beating us, rather than just having Tron mana into Blast Zone or something. So I've just gone back up on the Gadok Tig, which is obviously worse against Storm or something. So we go ahead, get into our league. We see our hand here. So we lost the die roll, we're on the draw. It's a Leyline hand with a Slippery Bogle, double Rancor. Decent clock on double Rancor, it's still pretty decent against control. Even though we don't know what we're versing, it's good to think about how your hand's going to shape into potential decks. So I decide to keep it between our 12 first strike effects and our 6 evasive effects. Like, we're drawing to 18 different auras that really enable us to attack with a Rancor, so that's pretty good. So opponent goes Temple Garden or Windswept Heath, fetch Temple Garden into Arbor Elf. So I'm thinking a Niv Mizzet Reborn deck here. Really don't like versing the Niv Mizzet Reborn deck, so thinking I want to save my Windswept Heath for maybe Akaya's Guile, which might make us sacrifice a creature. And that doesn't target, so they can make us sacrifice through Leyline. So here they go ahead and play an Auriok Champion. So this creature's bad news. This means we're very likely versing Heliod combo. And the Hardened Scales pretty much cements that. And Hardened Scales Heliod combo decks are like a horrible matchup for us. So we've drawn Ethereal Armor into Gladecover Scout. Because this is like a Heliod combo deck and I'm no longer wanting to play around Kaya's Guile, I'm pretty comfortable fetching this Windswept Heath, just thinning the deck by that one land, playing out our Rancor. I mean, we can potentially play Gladecover Scout next turn anyway to play around Kai's Guile if they've got that anyway. They'd have like one turn to blow us out with it. But you know, I just want to be aggressive here, attack for 6, and yeah, put my opponent on the like quickest clock that I can. Now, they collected company into Captain Ranger of Eos, and I think it's Spike Feeder, or... yeah, it's Spike Feeder here. which is not the worst news. Like, they gained 2 life off of it. Whoop-de-doo. That's not the worst news in the world. We just need them to not have Heliod. Like, I'm happy that they didn't find Heliod. They've got Walking Ballista here that they've just hit. Obviously gained some life off the Auriok champion as well. So we blank and draw Windswept Heath, which is awful, because if we drew like Grispoon or Spirit Mantle here, we legitimately just killed our opponent. Instead, we put them to 3. Oh, sorry, we're 1 point off killing our opponent. Instead, we put them to 3. And unfortunately, my opponent sandbags for a little while, plays the Heliod, and then just gains infinite life with Spike Feeder. So that sucks. We go to sideboarding, and I take out my ley lines. I look to bring in my Hushbringers and my Gadok Teagues and my Path here. Sit down and think about it and break it down. Hushbringer really doesn't do that much. Neither does Gadok Teague. Gadok Teague sort of has the slight edge because it stops Collected Company from being cast, and it stops their opponent from playing like Finale of Devastation or something. Collected Company. And Hushbringer only really stops a trigger on the turn it enters on like, but it doesn't stop their combo properly, right? So I decided to cut them, go 1 Gadok Teague and run that. So I've got the 4 Path in the main deck, and I see like a pretty terrible 7 here, so I have to mulligan to 6. Obviously no creature, no interaction, can't keep that. This hand's a 6, it's got 3 mana, it's got 0 auras, but it's got Path as interaction, so like, Path's pretty good. If our core Spirit Dancers pay off, we're looking at a really good clock, we're on the play. We can potentially just like, beat our opponent very strongly here. Now, perhaps I should have bottomed one of the core Spirit Dancers and kept the Horizon Canopy in hand there. Figured like, if I draw like a single aura, then I might want to go double core Spirit Dancer, double draw if my opponent's not pressured the board. It does actually backfire here a little bit. I do draw Daybreak Coronet as my aura, so I just attack for 1, offer the trade with the Arbor Elf. I should have done this before playing my second mana source, but I didn't. Then I play core Spirit Dancer and pass. The opponent plays Utopia Sprawl, obviously gets access to 4 mana now with their Arbor Elf there. Play Heliod Sun's Crown. We can't interact with this because it's a creature here. We do draw Rancor, and we do get to draw a card. We don't draw anything relevant, just another creature. So we can hold up Path to interact with our opponent here, but it's not quite good enough. We attack for 5, again, not quite good enough. They just play Conclave something or other, which adds an extra counter creatures that enter. Then they play Spike Feeder, and if they didn't have the Conclave thing, Spike Feeder would enter with 2 counters and would actually be able to kill it. But this makes it come with an extra counter in Conclave Mentor, which is very, very frustrating, because I literally had the answer for the Spike Feeder combo. But he had the answer for that with Conclave Mentor, so, I mean, opponent just had it all. E- is a Spike Feeder here. Like, we can Path in response. It's gone down to 2, but then they just gain life and ignore it. So, let him gain it, and then hope that he just sort of skips through or something. And then I look to Path it on the next activation, and it's just not good enough because my opponent, you know, they know the line. And we just lose. So, sucks. We can beat this deck with Suppression Field with Dromoka's Command. The fact my opponents, it makes them, Dromoka's Command, one of the modes makes your opponent sack an enchantment. So, obviously, this is a legendary enchantment creature with Indestructible. You can't Path it unless it's a creature. It's not a creature here, or else it would be pulled forward. Its devotion needs to be 5 for it to be a creature. Its devotion's currently like 1. So, yeah, lost the matchup. No real surprises there because it is a horrible matchup. So, anyway, we end this league and we move on to round 2. So thanks everyone for watching. I hope you enjoyed the video. If you did, be sure to leave a like or comment down below. Let me know what you think. Let me know if you've got any interesting tech to beat this deck, because it's just real piles of gross rap. If you're new, guys, subscribe for daily Bogles content and ring that bell for notifications every time a new video goes live. Thanks once more, guys. I'll see you tomorrow.